Almost 2 full minutes of opening credits. 1 full minute of corpse preparation. Also, of all the storylines in the show, this is not the worst, but it is pretty fucking boring and is never explained properly. Waif jump scare.
I've been here for weeks. I'm not scrubbing one more corpse until you tell me why I'm doing it.
Kids.
I'm from Westeros, just like you. Daughter of a lord, just like you. My father remarried and his new wife gave birth to a girl. My stepmother didn't want any rivals for her precious daughter.
Arya somehow can't see through this obvious lie. Why does Mr. Faceless feel the need to do this shit when she's trying to sleep? The Faceless Men are dicks.
After he was executed, I fled the capital. Had to kill a sable boy. Drove my sword through his back.
I feel like this counts as a previously on segment. Why does Jorah constantly feel the need to look at his grayscale? Every time he does it, he's risking Tyrion seeing it. Just admit it, he's only looking to remind the audience he has it.
We can't live on berries and roots.
Tyrion, Bear Grylls would like a word.
Therefore, you ever shut up?
Jorah would be excellent at discount Cinemasins.
You never wondered why Tyrion Lannister decided to visit a brothel in Volantis.
Holy shit, Tyrion would also be excellent at discount Cinemasins.
He was leading an expedition beyond the wall. There was a mutiny. He was murdered by his own men.
Okay, all jokes aside, this moment where Tyrion tells Jorah about his father's death is really good. You can see the pain on Jorah's face when Tyrion tells him, so big props to Ian Glenn. Oh, wonderful. Right back to this plot. Just what I was hoping for. So Arya kills one sick girl and then she's suddenly ready for the next stage of her training? What kind of shit is that? Did she buy some in-game upgrades?
Let's assume your dreams come true. She's ecstatic when you bring her this enemy dwarf. She hacks off my head and restores your position. You command her army, sail to Westeros, defeat all your enemies, and watch her climb those steps and sit on the Iron Throne. Hurrah, long live the Queen. Then what?
Then she rules.
There's nothing particularly wrong or egregious about this conversation, it's just that it's kind of a waste of time. We don't really get anywhere or cover any ground with it, and it's just sort of some filler.
It's a slave ship.
Why are they anchored?
They probably came ashore for water.
This plot development feels like it came straight from a high school play. Oh, you want your characters to get captured by slavers? No problem. We'll have them sneak up in a jiffy.
What about the dwarf? Worthless.
What the fuck is this? What does he mean dwarves are worthless? People would totally pay for him to be their fool and entertain them. In fact, that's actually what happens in the books, so why didn't they just keep that in the show?
It will be a dwarf-sized cock.
Guess again.
I feel like 80% of this show past season 4 is characters talking about penises.
Dwarf lives until we find a cock merchant.
That was easy.
He won the tournament at Lannisport, unseating Sir Jaime Lannister himself.
More previously on segment dialogue. How interesting?
You'll find there's little tolerance for flesh peddlers in the new King's Landing.
We both peddle fantasies, Brother Lancel. Mine just happened to be entertaining.
The super devout and violent sparrows take absolutely no offense to Littlefinger calling their gods boring.
And the Faith were armed on your orders.
The king's orders. Is the king to blame for Sir Loras's perversion?
House Tyrell won't tolerate this insult.
The King's Landing plot in this season has basically just been Cersei running around making mistakes and the sparrows arresting innocent people. It feels so much more dumbed down than the King's Landing plots in previous seasons.
One's choice of companion is a curious thing. To lose both your parents at such a young age.
If war comes to Westeros, will the Knights of the Vale fight for their king?
Nah, they'll just stupidly show up late for Jon and Sansa, which will make absolutely no sense, but the fans will still love it for some reason.
But I have found Sansa Stark.
Why would Littlefinger tell her this? In the books, he keeps Sansa protected and undercover in the Vale, which makes so much more sense for his character and her character. But this shit right here is really stupid.
And if you succeed?
Name me Warden of the North.
Cersei somehow doesn't see through this obvious power grab. She's smarter than that.
Do you want to marry me because our families arranged it? Or do you...
If the show had spent any significant amount of time focusing on the relationship between these two, I might actually give a shit.
You haven't had to use that axe of yours in a long time. I hope you remember how.
I remember how.
Oh boy, this line is clearly setting up a super badass fight scene with him later, right? Right? Anyone? Bueller?
And its kiss was a terrible thing.
Bronn can sing way better than me. Also, the entire plotline with Jaime and Bronn going to Dorne and the Sand Snakes trying to kidnap Myrcella is so fucking stupid. In the books, the Dornish plotline is definitely one of the best in the entire 4th installment, but Dumb and Dumber tore it to shreds.
Alright, that's enough.
Jaime is a dick to sellswords named Bronn. So they've just been casually this close to a group of Dornishmen for how long? And nobody is the least bit suspicious? Ah well, if you say so.
I like to improvise. That explains the golden hand.
Unbowed, unbent, unbroken.
Roll credits, please. Okay, how the fuck did they get into the water gardens without any guards doing anything? We could have, at the very least, seen them kill a couple guards to get in, but the way it's shown in the episode makes it seem as if they just waltzed in unquestioned.
I don't understand. What are you doing here?
Let's speak in private.
Gonna be honest, this meeting is very contrived and I just want to read the book. Show thinks it's being subtle with this bit, but Show is very wrong. The funniest thing about this dumbass plotline is that any of the characters thought this plan would work. Cersei, Jaime, and Bronn are not that stupid. Shitty and over-edited fight scene is shitty and over-edited. Also, how is Jaime holding his own against the Sand Snakes when he couldn't even hold his own against that random-ass soldier from a previous episode? The only reason he beat that dude was dumb luck. In this shot, Nymeria has a whip in her right hand, but in the next shot, she has a knife. If it turns out she has the magical powers to make weapons disappear and conjure new ones, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
I am Obara Sand, daughter of Oberyn Martell.
Cringy line delivery is cringy.
When you were whole, it would have been a good fight.
And the show never pays off any of the talk about Arya Hota's skill with his axe. Also, how does he know that this is Jaime? It doesn't seem likely that there are realistic paintings or drawings of him in Dorne, certainly not statues, and Arya has never met Jaime in real life, so he shouldn't know who this is.
You fight pretty good for a little girl.
Damn, this sand snake whose name I can't remember gets offended at the smallest insults. And that's pretty much it for the Dornish plotline. I know that they technically still exist in the later seasons, but they have zero effect on anything, so I'm calling it quits with them right here. What a pathetic way to handle such an incredible plot from the books.
You can smell the shit from 5 miles away.
Fans' reactions to the final season somehow make it into this episode.
Renly Baratheon shagged half the stable boys in the 7 Kingdoms. Everyone knew. No one cared.
Progressivism?
He has a birthmark, Your Grace. Quite high on his thigh. Wine-colored and roughly the shape of dawn.
The thing I love most about this is that the Sparrows never even check to verify if this is true. They drag him off to a cell without even looking, which is just such an obvious detail to have included, but they didn't. Also, just because he knows that Loras has a birthmark on his thigh doesn't necessarily mean he slept with him. He could have seen Loras in a bath or something like that. What I'm saying is that this witness testimony is far from being the ironclad evidence they're acting like it is.
You can't do this. I am the Queen. Tommen! Tommen!
Fucking Tommen.
I shouldn't gossip. It's good to see the red again.
Skip.
Kira, the blacksmith's daughter. And there was Violet. Oh, she had gorgeous blonde hair.
Ramsay's female body count.
Of course, sweet girls get a bit dull after a while, don't they?
There is zero subtlety in this scene. Okay, Sansa marrying Ramsay is so dumb. In the books, Roose Bolton passes off one of the Stark's former bedmaids as Arya in order to convince people that she was still alive, which simultaneously gives the Boltons a stronger foothold in the north. Aside from the fact that Sansa's character would never have consented to this marriage, it also doesn't make sense because Sansa's character arc is so much better served if she's still in the Vale with Littlefinger up to this point. It was such a stupid thing to change. Also, I'd just like to point out that Tyrion and Sansa's marriage was never annulled, so technically it's not even possible for Sansa to get married to Ramsay.
Who comes to claim her?
Skip? What, no betting ceremony? One of the infamous traditions of Westerosi weddings doesn't even happen here? Have Dumb and Dumber forgotten everything about their own show?
Take off your clothes. Oh, no. You stay here, Reek. You watch.
Pornhub. So why is this episode called Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken? Cause Sansa is definitely getting bowed, bent, and broken into. Also, even though I do hate this episode, and really this whole season, Alfie fucking Allen. What an incredible actor. I will remove one sin for his performance in this scene. Well done.
Shut up.